All right, everybody, welcome into Around the Felt, episode number 69 tonight. And
Pause.
boy, did this 69 episode it didn't disappoint. Colin and Dave very sick. They were 69ing each other this weekend, and they're very
Dude.
sick now.
Oh my God, that's so out of pocket. This is a flu game a little bit. We must have caught something in the Bronx this weekend, but we
Mhm.
battle through adversity for you guys and for the betterment of Around the Felt. And we got our final division recap today. The AFC East, home of Reagan's awful, awful New York Jets.
Jets, Jets. But yeah, no, it's just too funny that it's episode 69 and they're both sick. Like, what were you guys doing? Swapping saliva? I don't know. I don't know.
No, no. I mean, we do live together in the same apartment, so that's how stuff could spread. We
Mhm.
probably caught something in the Bronx. A lot of people in New York City, Reagan, but it happens. We battle through though.
Yes, yes. Here at Around the Felt, I only hire troopers, warriors, and these
Okay.
are two
If that's how
warriors.
you want to put it. All right, Reagan, let's get into the news. Not a lot, obviously, as draft season's heating up. A lot of players are signed. There are still a decent amount of good players that are on still on the free agency, but a couple of extensions went down. We'll start with Jordan Mailata. I'm tired of talking about the Eagles, but they bring back another one of their guys. 3 years, 66 million. He's now with the team through 2028. Mailata, former rugby player, former seventh round pick, took the spot from Andre Dillard and now gets a bag. He's the fourth highest paid offensive tackle in football. Well deserved for him. Reagan, what are your thoughts here? Fair extension?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. He's definitely one of their key focal points on that offensive line. And obviously, when you lose Kelsey, you need to pay the guys that were there and the big factors. So it's a good move.
Yep, he'll
Definitely,
have to step into more of a leadership role with Kelsey gone as well.
yeah, no, definitely a smart move. But yeah, not much else to
Another
say.
extension. Derek Brown,
Mm,
former number 7 overall pick in the 2020 draft out of Auburn. Although the Panthers were terrible last year, Brown was a bright spot. He signed a 4-year, $96 million extension. He's now one of the highest paid defensive tackles in football. And we've seen that position really blow up with the extensions. He had his first Pro Bowl season last year, had 103 tackles, which I believe Schefter said was an NFL record for a defensive tackle, or it might have been second all time in a season. He
yeah.
has 79 run stops. He was an absolute beast. The pass rushing stats weren't there as much, only a few sacks, but one of the best run stoppers in the league. And for Carolina, I don't really know what they're doing because they re-signed some guys, let other guys walk, like including Brian Burns and McCaffrey. I mean, I don't know, but hey, at least they're keeping Derek Brown, and having a dominant interior player is so important in today's NFL.
Yeah, and I feel like I mean obviously they traded Burns and it was probably like one or the other, and you're gonna reward the guy who had the better season, obviously. So I don't know, definitely interesting, but I feel like if your D tackle's getting 100 tackles, you kind of have to pay him the bag because
You
I
do,
did not realize he had over 100 tackles. That is ridiculous.
yeah.
It also
That
speaks
is
to how bad their
ridiculous.
offense was too, giving them
Hmm.
that many opportunities. But that is very nuts.
Very
Uh,
nuts.
Yeah, and then in some other news, I mean, the Rashid Rice thing just keeps heating up. Obviously,
Yep.
I believe he got charged with a, what did they say? I mean, they're still investigating it, but apparently there's a ton coming out with it.
Well, there was guns, there was marijuana apparently,
Yeah.
which makes it worse. He was confirmed as one of the drivers. Not looking good, but like you mentioned in the last podcast, Reagan, it could kind of drag out. I don't know. We're not really guys that are really in with the law and know what type of punishment he can get, but it's not looking good for
Yeah, I
Rashi
mean,
Rice.
we'd love to hire on like a someone who deals with the law and stuff. If anyone wants to come on and be our like podcast lawyer or whatnot, we'd love to have you. In other
Podcast
news,
lawyer.
obviously, I don't believe I think the last time we recorded was before Diggs was traded. So that's
No, it was the day of Diggs trade.
did
So
we talk about that last pod?
yes, we did. I
Did
mean, your
we?
memory must be really bad, my friend.
I don't think so, bro.
Yes, we
Didn't it
did.
happen four
Yes, we
days ago?
did. I'll bet you everything I own. We
Because
did talk
today's
about it.
Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. When did we record last? Wednesday?
I believe it was Wednesday, was it not?
The trade happened Thursday.
It was Wednesday.
Yeah, but the
No,
trade happened
trade happened
Thursday, I thought.
Wednesday. Trade happened Wednesday.
When did we fucking okay. All
Dude,
right.
we talked about it.
I don't
You want to
I'm
bet?
sorry. No, you're
Someone
probably
pull up
right.
the tape.
Oh no, you're right because we were
Challenge
going back
flag.
about. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Challenge
Void,
flag.
void, 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 void. Cancel it. You're right. You're right. You're right. But hey, Sketch, the big streamer, he got to hang out with Diggs. That
Yeah,
was
so I don't really know him. What like why is he famous? But I did see the picture of him with Nico, with Stroud and John Mechie.
I think the main reason he's famous is because he's like a Madden streamer, but he's funny as hell. So I think that's why he's become so big. And he seems down to earth from what I've seen. And I think people kind of gravitate towards the average Joe looking type of guy. So I feel like because he's got the whole nerdy, geeky look going, but he's more just down to earth. He's not one of these like pretty boys thirst trapping you and shit. So,
I did see some of his celebrations of him doing the OBJ when he lifts his leg and pisses, and it's kind of funny.
oh, dude, it's mad funny. Yeah, because nobody wants to watch somebody be good at Madden. They're watching for entertainment. Like if you're really watching a streamer, you don't. I mean, obviously it's nice if they're good, but like you're more watching because they're entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. He did like a Jalen Hurts tush push and then got up and started crawling around and pissing. So it was
Let's
pretty
go.
funny.
Need that.
It was pretty funny. All right, that wraps up the news. Drock, what do you got for questions?
Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Question time. Aussie has no questions for
Brought
us,
to you
but
by ESPN.
yeah, brought to you by Drock. Slam it. Aussie has no general questions for us, but he did provide me a lot of trivia questions. So shout out Aussie. Let's slide
Beautiful.
to Mr. Graphic Designer Garrett. First
Austin.
question. How bad does Joe Douglas look after taking Will McDonald at pick 15 last year? When this year our biggest need is wide receiver. When we could have handed off the wide receiver from that draft. Yeah, that's not English, but makes sense.
Yeah, Big G, we got to work on the grammar there a little bit, my friends. But I mean, the biggest thing was Will McDonald barely saw the field last year with the obviously better season at Jermaine Johnson. He progressed really well. You love to see that. And then Bryce Huff also had a breakout season. So McDonald didn't really have the opportunity to get as many snaps. And now they bring in Hassan Reddick. So he's still kind of that third guy. Even though Reddick's there, you have to think McDonald's going to be more involved. He's going to get more snaps. But if he still doesn't progress to the point where he's making an impact, then it does look strange, especially because last year the offensive line was so bad and a lot of people expected the Jets to get offensive linemen. Then the Steelers jumped him in the draft for Broderick Jones, who was a guy I thought they'd target. So I don't know. It's still really early, man. You don't want to write a guy off that early, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to have more help for Aaron Rodgers right now because that defense is already elite.
Yeah, I mean, and you can look at it two ways because we probably would have had Dallas Turner at 10 if we wanted him. Who I'd say he's viewed upon as a consensus number one edge, right? At this point.
No, I mean, I would say most people have Turner as the number one edge. A lot like most mock drafts I see have him going 8 to Atlanta, like almost everyone at this point. But
Yeah,
some people like Jared Verse better, some like Latu better out of UCLA, who's a
and I think
better
at
pure pass
10 we would have
rusher.
had whoever.
But yeah,
It's also hard to say because I don't know because at 15, which wide receiver would you have taken? I think I prefer Brock Bowers over any of those wide receiver options, but I don't know. Do you want Dallas Turner and Zay Flowers, or do you want Brock Bowers and Will McDonald? It's too early to write McDonald off, so it's hard to say. But I think as a weapon itself, and already having Garrett Wilson, I think I like Brock Bowers over any of the other options.
I feel like JSN would have been their pick to pair him back with Garrett Wilson. That would have been kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, he probably would have been. I don't think we would have taken Quentin Johnston, who seems to have the best situation now out of all four of those guys in terms of like
Somehow.
potential, like not what he has done, but like potential targets. I mean, he's been thrusted into the wide receiver one role, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, he really thrusted into that role.
Yeah, Daddy.
Um,
Pause.
Pause. Yeah. I mean, I lied before. We do have a lot of trivia questions. So every one of our question askers actually provided me a trivia question. So Garrett also got me one. So we're gonna save that
Huge
for
for the
later.
flu game. Huge for the flu game for the
Yeah.
drop.
Huge.
Um, and then so he provided us a punishment idea. He said loser has to watch the Poughkeepsie tapes movie and make a video of their review and reaction.
What movie is that?
Reagan, do you know this? Because I don't know. I looked it up.
What? It's the Poughkeepsie
Yeah,
documentary you said or something?
it's a town in New York. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
where
that's funny.
Marist College is.
Yeah, that's also where we have family out there. It's funny. I mean, I could look it up real quick. I believe it's probably pretty fucked up if he's saying to do that. Maybe
Yeah, it
that's
has to be something pretty bad. I mean, I don't know. Is it
maybe.
recent?
I mean, hey, okay, it's a horror slash crime. New York homicide investigators find hundreds of videotapes of torture, murder, and dismemberment showcasing a serial killer's work over decades.
Yeah, it
So,
doesn't sound like something I'd enjoy to watch.
I mean, yeah, it
Nice.
definitely sounds fucked up. I mean, I guess it would be a good way to cross. I guess we could talk to GM Light, our boy. Shout out Griffin. He's got a
Shout
big
out G
YouTube
Dog.
channel. So maybe we could talk to him and the loser can watch it with him and do a review on his channel with him of it. I'm sure he'd be down for that since he likes watching all the horror and movies and stuff. But if you're listening, go give him a follow. GM Light on YouTube. Griffin Venmo me 50 for the shout out.
Shout outs are now $50 on Around the Felt.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
It's a
I
it's
mean,
a
hey, I
phenomenon.
like the idea, or maybe not that documentary specifically, but I really don't like horror.
I do like horror, but I like a standard, like a
I
scary
don't like the shit
movie.
that's true. Like when you
Yes,
know it's
like
true. Like
serial
that's
killer
true.
stuff. Nah, that's not for me, man. Not for me. Like we watched the Dahmer, like the first 2 episodes. I was like, yeah, I'm done. This is too messed up.
Yeah, I think the most fucked up movie I ever watched was House of a Thousand Corpse, one of the Rob Zombie movies, and I'm like, fuck that. And then like after watching it, the group I was with wanted to go down. What's that haunted road in Jersey? You guys, it's like
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name. It's gonna bother me the whole night now.
I really did not like the Human Centipede. I don't know if you guys watched that one, but that was
Well, that one's just gross.
it's
yeah.
also
I
it's
I never watched it, but I know what it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
human
Let's
centipede.
let's slide to Walmart with a pretty good question.
Walmart.
Let's go.
Name the top 5 wide receivers in the AFC East.
I think Tyreek's unanimous one. Obviously, Diggs is gone, so that changes up a lot. I'm going my boy G Wilson at 2. I think I'll go Waddle at 3, and then after that, I guess Mike Williams at
Uh,
4,
yeah, you gotta go, Mike. Right? You can't go anyone on the Patriots in
and
the
then
top five. There's no
5.
shot.
I mean, 5. Then it gets dicey because
Then
it's
it's
like you want
like,
to go Shakir. You want to go. I mean, actually, on the Patriots, you could make a case for Pop Douglas. I mean, he had a good rookie season.
I
He
think you're
was
gonna
their
say Kendrick Bourne more
No,
so
no, no.
than
Pop
Douglas.
Douglas. I mean, just because he showed a lot of flashes. He led the team in receiving yards, and he was a rookie, so there's potential there. I mean, I'd probably go. I guess you could go Curtis Samuel just because he's proven. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not gonna go
yeah.
Lazard Cobb, but like you're not gonna go Claypool. I guess I'd go Samuel just because he's the most proven option out of all the other guys, but. You could make a case for Douglas with the Patriots. I mean, you could and he said receiver, right? Not like weapon.
Receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just wide
I mean,
receiver.
Yeah, it was wide
Five
receiver.
is five's interesting. I don't think. I mean, I guess maybe Lazard just based off of his blocking skill.
Dude, fucking shut up with the Lazard blocking. You could make a case that Waddle's 2 and Wilson's 3, but
No, you can't.
Wilson just has had a really bad quarterback play his 2 years in the league. And Waddle, I will say, when Tyreek was out, he kind of disappointed me last year. That's just the worst Waddle I've ever seen, bro.
All right,
But
do one better. Do one better. Do one
Waddle
better.
Waddle
Do one
did
better. Do
Waddle
one
did
better.
kind of it's hard. It's hard in the
What are you doing? You're like,
table.
ooh, hey baby, let me have a dance with you. Like, what is this? Like a
I
'70s like hip hop night?
I will say I was kind of disappointed with Waddle when Tyreek was out last year. How the offense kind of fell off the cliff without Tyreek Hill, and you thought Waddle, a speedster, could fill in that role, but just didn't do it at the same level. So I'd agree with you. I'd go Garrett Wilson second right now.
Yeah, just because like think about it. Like, I don't love to use the like if statements, but swap the situations. Is Waddle able to do the production as the number one on the Jets that Wilson's doing? And then you put Wilson on the
No.
Dolphins, I feel like he would do more than Waddle's done.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Wilson's just such a clean route runner.
yeah, and Waddle, he's not. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but he always is injured. He gets injured a lot too,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it
And
doesn't
it's
really
usually
miss
not
time.
big
He's just banged
injuries. It's
up,
usually like
you know.
yeah, that's why I'm not saying he's not injury prone, but he does tend to get banged up a lot and miss a game here or there.
Nice. We have some history made tonight by Max. He has asked the most questions ever on the pod. So let's give it up to him before we get into it.
Yeah, Hafe. Hafe was
He
locked
ca-
in, another Jets fan.
He
Yes,
came in
sir.
really clutch.
My
So
Jets fan brother, we bleed
let's
green
go.
together.
Let's go one by one here. First question. What's more impactful for their respected team? The departure of Stephon Diggs or the addition of Tyron Smith?
I would say, I don't know, because no matter what, you're going to call me
Mm,
biased. I would say the addition of Tyron Smith because I think without Diggs, Allen is still. I don't think Allen really changes that much the production he'll put up with or without Diggs because we saw him be basically his best self with barely involving Stephon Diggs last year, where adding Tyron Smith for the Jets, like, it was a huge need. You replace him with someone else, the Jets line is just terrible. Like, put Mekhi Becton there again, the team's going to suffer. Like, you can take Diggs out and give you the Shakirs and the Samuels and the Mac Hollins, and I think the offense is still very good. So I think that's pretty easy, Smith.
I will say I will also take Smith with the caveat that he has to stay healthy, which is something he's
Well, yeah.
struggled with mightily. But we did see the back half of last year when Joe Brady took over the offense that Diggs kind of got faded out a little bit. He had like one touchdown the last 10 games of the season, and the Bills still got to the AFC Championship game and lost by 3 to the champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. We saw Dalton Kincaid become a bigger part of the offense. We saw James Cook take that next step. Yeah, I mean, I still think the Bills are going to add a receiver in the draft, like no doubt, that can maybe not be a Diggs right away, but have almost similar production. And Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the league. I don't think that's debatable. So I still think without Diggs, he's going to ball out and he's still going to be able to carry that offense. I mean, we've seen Mahomes. I'm not saying Allen's Mahomes, but one of the top quarterbacks in the game. He lost Tyreek Hill, and his receivers were terrible this year, and he still won a Super Bowl and was great. So I think if you can protect an old Aaron Rodgers with Tyron Smith, it could pay a lot of dividends next year. The only problem is both players are old and both need to stay healthy. But yeah, if Smith gets hurt though, Jets are in trouble.
Next
Well said.
question.
Well said.
Yeah, it was well said.
Thanks,
Um,
guys. I really appreciate that.
all right. Which team will surprise the most in a good and or in a bad way?
In this division, surprise is like you kind of think the Bills, they're a consistent playoff team. The Jets have really high expectations going into next season. Like I saw a list today, power ranking the top teams in the AFC and had the Jets at 3 behind Kansas City and Baltimore. So their expectations are Super Bowl or bust. They're expected to win the division. So the only way they could surprise is if they miss the playoffs, which I
Well, I think
don't
that's
think
the
is going to
case for both
happen.
teams, the Dolphins and Bills as well. I think all three are in Super Bowl or bust mode at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess the biggest surprise, I think New England's going to be absolutely terrible. I don't think they're going
So,
to surprise anybody.
yeah,
But
that would be them probably not being terrible. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like the biggest
if
surprise to me would be the Patriots like being involved in like the wild card race.
Yeah, that'd be the big surprise, I think. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's very unlikely. So I'll say the Miami Dolphins miss the playoffs.
Wow. I will say I find it hard for the Bills to miss, but I'll say the Bills because until like this is the biggest like test for Josh Allen and legacy because this is probably the worst team he's had around him in a while. So this is a big test. Can you get the team into the playoffs? Where a lot of the past rosters he's had over the past couple of years, they were their Super Bowl now rosters where they were stacked up. Like the odds makers were giving them better odds than the Chiefs most years to win the Super Bowl. So that will be a big surprise. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they miss, but if they go far in the playoffs, that could be a big surprise. Is the Bills actually going in like to the Super Bowl where they have their worst roster? So it'd be Allen taking that big next step.
Oh, I like that. That's a good call.
All right. His third general question. How will the departures of Diggs and Davis affect Allen's fantasy numbers? And also, does the success of the Bills as a team?
Not at all, in my opinion. We saw how relevant he was for fantasy still, with barely involving Diggs and Davis some weeks. Like there were weeks where neither of them were getting the targets. I'm not worried at all. That's why they drafted Dalton Kincaid in the first round. I think that's why they weren't too worried about the wide receiver position. Like Shakir, I think is going to be sneaky in dynasty. Curtis Samuel's a nice gadget player where you can kind of move him around a bunch, and then obviously Matt Collins is what he is, but I don't think Davis is that big of a loss. Obviously, Diggs is a massive loss, but I think for fantasy, anything it might be a slight upgrade because I think Allen's going to run the ball more, which could lead to more rushing touchdowns. Where in fantasy, 10 rushing yards is worth a hell of a lot more than 10 passing yards, and a rushing touchdown is worth 2 points more than a passing touchdown in standard leagues. So I actually think I don't know. I feel like his value is the same, if not slightly higher in my books, just because I think he'll run more now that he doesn't have as good of weapons, so he'll put more on his shoulders.
Yeah, I want to see what they do in the draft first. I think he's going to have similar production because, I mean, he did have double-digit rushing touchdowns last year, and he didn't really tuck the ball as much. Like in the middle of the field, he's starting to be safer and protect himself more. But he's also 6'5", 250 pounds, so he doesn't really get hurt. It's tough to tackle that guy. I will say
Yeah.
losing Diggs in the locker room is actually going to be a good thing, where in fantasy it might hurt Allen a little bit. I mean, we've just heard when there's smoke, there's fire. We've heard it for a couple years how Diggs is unhappy and this and that, and he's pouting. And there's stories coming out that he's giving Josh Allen shit after a loss. And he's like, dude, it's one game. Like, relax. He just seems like a diva. So I think without that distraction there, it could be beneficial. However, I was reading stuff that said Gabe Davis was really important in the locker room, and people didn't realize that. And although he wasn't getting a ton of targets, he would go games without targets. He was still downfield blocking, still a fully team guy, and he was invested. So you do miss guys like that in the locker room, but his production, I think, could be replicated pretty easily. And I think in the first round, if the Bills target a receiver, and this is one of the best receiver classes in a while, it's really deep. If they get one, then I'm all over Josh Allen next year.
Yeah, I think Dalton Kincaid, maybe I don't even think it's a hot take. He could be the number one fantasy tight end next year.
Kincaid is my boy.
Oh, I didn't. Where'd you meet him? Nashville? Or did you meet him in Hoboken? Buying a
No, no,
shot?
no. Just because last year when we were, talking preseason, I let you know Kincaid sleeper. Oh, someone's
I
knocking.
mean, technically you were wrong, but okay. I mean, technically he was wrong in that sense, but my whole thing was never anti Dalton Kincaid, especially for Dynasty, was more so we don't see a lot of rookie tight ends go nuts in their first year. Obviously, Laporta was a big outlier this year, having actually ended up being the number one fantasy tight end. I believe that's the best season by a rookie tight end ever. What Laporta did this year. So, but I expect Kincaid. He did show a lot of flashes. I expect him to take a big leap in year two.
The league is in great hands. A lot of really good young tight ends. So
Yeah, all of a sudden that tight end position is becoming a lot more even for fantasy. It's not like, oh, I'm getting there's only two good tight ends in Andrews and Kelsey. Like now, Laporta, McBride, Kincaid. There's a lot of young names coming in there. Pitts is a lot more interesting now.
with Kirk Cousins,
I mean,
absolutely. I hope Isaiah likely
Hawkinson.
starts getting some more looks because he's looked good.
Yeah, I think until Andrews is gone, it's
Yeah, I know.
no bueno, pal.
But every time he steps in, he balls out.
Sure.
Great way to seg into our fantasy questions. We got 5 fantasy questions cooked up.
Woo!
Give a sleeper fantasy player within the division.
Hmm.
Well, it's got to be sleeper. Like I wouldn't like I was hyping up Kincaid. I would not consider him a sleeper by any
No.
stretch. Hmm.
How about Curtis Samuel? As it stands right now, I think his ceiling could be a wide receiver too. If the depth chart looks like this, I'm assuming they're gonna add a receiver, but even then, it's Shakir that's the incumbent, but that it's Samuel who's probably a better player. And he played pretty well for the Commanders last year, but he could be around wide receiver 25 to 30 if he's the wide receiver two for the full season playing with Josh Allen.
He could be the wide receiver one, to be honest. Like
He could be. Yeah, he could be.
as the depth chart stands. Yeah, I mean, I was talking about Pop Douglas before. I'll say him. I mean, he led the team in receiving yards this year. He had, I mean, only 561, so I'm not going to act like he had a crazy rookie year. But you know what? He's 5'8". He's 192. He's a speedster out of the slot. I think he could be a big PPR guy. He's going to be the safety blanket for whoever's the quarterback, whether it's Jacoby Brissett, the veteran who knows he's got to get it out quick, or if they bring in a rookie. I think he's going to be a big target guy. And I think at this point they're lacking weapons, and he showed enough that he's going to be primed to have a big role in this offense, regardless of who they bring in. And they lost Juju's gone. Devontae Parker's gone.
Thank God that guy's buns.
Who did they did bring in somebody in the offseason. But I don't believe it was a big name. That's the thing with the Patriots, man. It's like now that Belichick's out, it's just like whatever they do, it just feels mid.
You see, Robert Kraft said they shouldn't have let Jacoby Myers go. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Jacoby
I mean, they
Myers looked pretty
shouldn't
damn good
have.
last year
Yeah.
playing alongside Devontae.
I mean, they definitely shouldn't have. Hold on, I almost got the list pulled out. But yeah, overall, I think Douglas is definitely a sleeper. He's a guy I would try to target in Dynasty. I have him stashed in a couple leagues just because there's not a whole lot. Oh, KJ Osborne. So he also could be sneaky too, because he has shown
Okay, Jay.
some splashes with the Vikings. I mean, Bourne's back too, so they
I don't know, dude. Osborne does not excite me. He had a lot of drops in Minnesota, and that's when he was playing with Kirk Chains. Now you're gonna play with a rookie or Jacoby Brissett.
and also another sleeper. They did get Antonio Gibbs. While Ramondre is going to be the lead back, I mean, we saw what Zeke was able to do. If Ramondre is to miss time, I would be very intrigued. And also, Gibson has that wide receiver pedigree. That's where he played. That's actually what he was in college, a wide receiver at Memphis. So another sleeper. I think the Patriots have the most sleepers just because the team is so unproven.
Yeah. Next question. Which Bills receiver would you target as fantasy wide receiver number 1 in Buffalo?
Kind of just touched
Shakir.
on that right now. I mean, it's tough to pick between the two, the incumbent or the guy that's probably had a better career at this point. But Shakir could be exciting now that he's not playing behind Diggs and Davis, and he does have that downfield ability that Josh Allen loves to push the ball downfield, even in danger. So, I mean, Shakir is enticing. I'm curious what their ADP would look like right now, though.
I think Shakir would go ahead just because we've seen the production and he was heavily involved. Where Samuel, you kind of know what he is. He's shown a lot of flashes, but with his injury history, because he has missed a lot of time with Carolina, and I know last he was able to play a full season and put up some good numbers with Washington, but I just think because Shakir is proven in that offense and has the connection with Allen already, his ADP will be higher. But I think either is a great option. One of them is going to be relevant for fantasy. So,
Nice.
but all right, what do we got next?
Yeah. What kind of season does Demario Douglas have fantasy wise as he's the wide receiver in New England?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously talked about it a little bit before, but I think his upside is a high end flex, maybe low end wide receiver 3 to pushing high end wide receiver 3. I don't think with how bad that offense is going to be that he could push a top 24 wide receiver role. So I think maybe if it was a full point PPR and he really gets his targets up more and his reception, because he only had 50 catches last year, so it would have to go up significantly in 14 games. So it wasn't like that was a 17 games. He could push top 24, but I think at best is a wide receiver 3 or a low end flex.
I'm not touching any of these wide receivers in this offense. I don't even care. It would
Not even
take
in
like
Dynasty.
it would take like a CJ Stroud type rookie year from the quarterback they take for them to be fantasy relevant, in my opinion. Like I'm
I don't
not
know about
touching them.
that.
I'm not touching them, dude. They had the 30th.
I think
They
they're
had the
late round flyers.
they had a 30th total offense last year and 31st in scoring, and
Okay, but
now
like
you're gonna
look at Adam
have
Thielen. He was still
Brissett.
startable. But look at Adam Thielen. He was still startable with a terrible Panthers offense.
Yeah, but Adam Thielen is a better player than anything New
No,
England
he
has right
is.
now.
He is. But somebody's going to get the targets and the catches. So regardless of how bad the offense is, somebody's got to get the catches and the targets.
I don't know. I'm not touching it.
All right.
I know this would probably fall under the AFC South, but still relevant. Where do you rank Stephon Diggs now that he's in Houston?
Yeah, that's AFC South, so we're not going to answer that.
Yeah,
Next
it's
question.
AFC, not NFC, dumbass.
All
Yeah,
right.
what the fuck, Dave? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We'll
No, he's
answer,
busting
obviously.
your balls because you said NFC and not AFC South.
Anyway, so yeah, it's so tough to rank Diggs because he's coming in as the wide receiver 2 on this team. I think at this point Nico Collins is a better wide receiver, and he's clearly Stroud's favorite target. So he's not going to get the same target share that he saw in Minnesota or in Buffalo. There's too
Until he
many
starts
mouths to
bitching
feed.
about it.
There's too many mouths to feed, though. Like, think about it. Tank showed a lot of flashes. Nico was a beast. Dalton Schultz just got the big extension and was a big safety blanket. They got Joe Mixon, so they're going to run the ball, I think, a lot more now, too. There's just so many mouths to feed. So I don't view him, I view his like ceiling as a wide receiver, too. I don't think he's top 12 at this point. I just don't, I just think there's too many mouths to feed. And I think the only way he'd get to that top 12 is with injuries, and I'm not going to predict injuries. So I think his ceiling is a top 24 wide receiver.
Now you're saying like for the season, like as like when
Yeah,
the
it's not
season ends, where you're saying his ceiling is like what, 15?
Yeah, he just won't be the top 12. So somewhere between 13 and 24.
Yeah, I would say he's probably a wide receiver too now. I mean, he was the alpha in Buffalo with a star quarterback, and I'm curious, where did he rank last year? Like 11th, 12th?
No, I don't. I mean, I can look, but I don't
Yeah,
think
can you
he.
confirm? Can you confirm that real
I
quick?
think because he was so uninvolved down the stretch, I
Yeah,
can't
but for the
imagine
first
him.
half of the season, he balled out. He did have like 800 yards the first 9 games
Yeah, I know, but he just like he
and like
fell
seven
off so hard. I
touchdowns.
mean,
He
it's
did.
possible he ended as a top 12 guy, but he limped to the finish line if that's the case.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
he
in
did
full point PPR, he okay. Yeah, in full point, he was the number 9 wide receiver.
number 9. Okay. Yeah, I figured
So,
he finished up there, but that's also in Buffalo when you had a rookie, Dalton Kincaid, Gabe Davis, who didn't really do much,
and that
James
was his
Cook.
worst season for fantasy in Buffalo.
Yeah. So he's also going to be what, 31 years old next year?
Correct. Yep, he's 30
Yeah.
as
So
of
he's
now.
he's getting up there. I mean, I don't know. Like you mentioned, so many mouths to feed. I would say
Wow, that
he's
is
a
actually crazy. From week 10 on, he had his best finish on the week was wide receiver 15, and and then he had a wide receiver 20 finish, and then the other 6 weeks out of the 8, he finishes outside the top 45.
wow.
So he really just went off those first 9 games, and then he just limped to his a top 10 fantasy finish.
Wow. I will say I think he's a wide receiver too going into next year. He does have the ability to have a wide receiver 1 week, any given week,
Oh
given
yeah, of
how
course.
good CJ Stroud is and what Diggs has done. But yeah, I would say I probably put him around that 15 range for next season.
It's nothing to do with the talent. It's just how many weapons are around there. I just think they're going to eat each other up.
I think there's
You know
gonna be
what I
games
mean?
though where Houston hangs 40 and all the boys eat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I just think you have to temper expectations and strictly just because of how many good options they have there. And I think there's going to be weeks where it's the Joe Mixon show and he has 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns rushing, and Stroud doesn't even have to throw a touchdown pass.
Potentially. What do we got next, David?
What prospect receiver fits the Bills well within this draft?
Xavier Worthy. Guy just broke the 40-yard dash record. And pair him with Josh Allen. And Worthy's not just like a John Ross, like a burner. Like this dude can run routes as well. So I'd really like to see with Josh Allen's arm, Xavier Worthy downfield. That'd be a lot of fun. I also think Brian Thomas Jr. would be good as well because he's a big body, 6'4", ran a 4.3. A lot of people kind of comparing him to AJ Brown. I don't mind that comp, but I think he's a good athlete as well. I just want a guy that can really get downfield for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison. No, but if we're being realistic, I mean, I don't
Well, hold
necessarily.
on, Reagan. Hold on. I do see people that are going like bold takes and saying the Bills are going to pull off a deal to similar to when the Falcons got Julio Jones. They moved all the way up from the 20s up to get Julio Jones. But a lot of people said, like, I don't think it's going to happen
Yeah,
because
what would they give up?
think about, well,
Don't.
they have to give up their first round pick like next year and more draft
But
capital.
why would you want that? Like, I wouldn't want Buffalo's first round pick next year because they're a good team already, and then you're just giving them a stud. Like, you're basically saying, give me a late first rounder,
It'd be
two
a
late
lot.
first round. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna look up the package that was, but it would be a really aggressive move. And think about how many players Buffalo just lost this offseason. Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, Stephon Diggs. Like they lost a lot of guys that you need the draft capital to replenish your depth and kind of get some of these guys to star.
Yeah,
Especially with Josh Allen on this big extension now.
yeah. I mean, I'll go with Keon Coleman just because they don't really have that big body wide receiver now that Gabe Davis is gone. I mean, I guess Matt Collins is supposed to be that guy, but I mean, are you really sold on him? No. I mean, Shakir and Samuel are both very small wide receivers. I don't even think either of them are bigger than 5'10". So you definitely need the big body guy. I think if you go with Worthy, like obviously he's a burner, but I don't know if he necessarily fits because then you got your top 3 wide receivers are all under 6 foot. So you're really committing to that. And then I guess you got to rely on Kincaid, who obviously he can line up in the slot and stuff, and you can put him out wide. He's very versatile, but I think they could really use that big body wide receiver.
That's fair. The trade that got Julio Jones to Atlanta, they moved up from number 27
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to number 5.
Okay.
and they gave Cleveland pick 27, their first round pick in 2012, so the year after. They also got a 2, a 4, and a 5. So 2 firsts, a 2, a 4, and a 5 to move up from 27 to 5th.
Hmm.
That's a
Interesting.
lot. That's a lot of draft capital.
That is a lot. Damn. 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 Damn.
For the first time in a while, we got some betting questions. With the odds set the way that they are, I'm not sure if you guys know the division odds. We can pull that up, but who would you ride with to win the division?
Mm.
I mean, I'd be a fake fan if I didn't say the Jets.
I got to think the Jets are the favorite right now, right? Is it Buffalo, do you think?
Mm, I
Even
don't
after
know.
trading Diggs? It's probably
Yeah,
really close.
it
It's
might
probably
be
really
it could be
close.
Miami style. Yeah, maybe I'll pull it up quick.
I
It's
wouldn't take
definitely
Miami.
very. No, I wouldn't either. I mean, I would be such a fake fan if I said anyone but the Jets. I mean, come on. Um,
I almost want to take Buffalo, but I don't know the line.
yeah, I mean, I'll pull it up in a second. I mean, you could honestly just go from the like value perspective too. Actually, I think it'll be Buffalo because they have better Super Bowl odds. I mean, is it possible to have like better odds to win the division, but worse odds to win the Super
No
Bowl?
way, right? No way.
I guess, yeah, no. Jets and Dolphins plus 200, Bills plus 160, Patriots plus 2,500. I'm going Patriots. Give me the value.
Yeah, no shot. Yeah,
Nah,
no
I'm
shot.
I'm,
I'll
I'm
go
going
Buffalo.
Jets.
I'll stick with them. I just think
Chalk, chalk.
if Miami has to go to MetLife in December or Buffalo in December for a big game to like win the division, I just have no faith in them to win in cold weather. Sorry. Also, I know Tua was healthy last year, but there is always that risk that scares me to place a future on Miami.
Valid.
How do we feel about the potential Rodgers comeback player of the year bet, or does Burrow take that as a lock?
No,
Ooh.
I don't think I mean, I don't see any odds yet. But yeah, I mean, I can't see it being either anyone else besides those two. I mean, I guess Kirk too. I don't know. I feel like they'll give it to Rodgers because if both teams make the playoffs, it'll be a bigger story because the Jets haven't made it in so long. They're the bigger market. And I believe did Joe Burrow win it already? Did he win it going in the year two?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because if
He
he did,
totally might have.
voter fatigue is definitely a big part of it. So it'll be interesting. But Kirk's another guy that could win it too. Obviously, changing
It could be
situations could.
whichever team is just higher up on the standings, like whoever quarterback performs better and
Yeah.
leads their team to more wins. Like
Hmm.
if one of those two teams is the number one seed in the AFC, then those two quarterbacks are definitely in the MVP conversation,
Oh yeah.
but they're probably the favorite to win comeback player of the year as well. Who would I take if I had to choose? I hate to say it, the Jets roster is better right now. The Bengals defense was just really bad last year. And, Joe Burrow coming back doesn't fix that part. But yeah, I guess I'd say Rodgers. Plus the whole storyline last year, like how he went down. I think if he comes back and the Jets are competitive and they're winning games and they're in the hunt for a top seed in the AFC, I think Rodgers is most likely gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Burrow's in the worst situation right now. Like you just got rid of Mixon. They don't have that elite running back. Obviously, he's got the at least one elite receiver. We'll see what happens with T. Higgins, but weapons are dwindling there. The defense isn't great, so it'll be interesting. So I think if both teams have great season, it'll be more impressive if Burrow has a better season, just because he actually has less talent around him, shockingly. So, but it'll be interesting. But I think the storyline for Rodgers is just going to be built up so much more, especially being in New York and not making the playoffs in a long time.
Second to last question. Who's a better shot at winning offensive player of the year between Bryce Hall and Garrett Wilson?
Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. I'd say Brees Hall. I mean, he's just going to get so many more touches. I think they're going to try to take a lot off of Rodgers and stuff by not making him pass the ball as much. So I just think he's going to get a ton of volume. They're going to try to use him more in the red zone. They're going to do as much as possible to keep Rodgers upright. And I think he'll be involved in the receiving game a ton as well. So
Yeah, I mean, him and McCaffrey, the two best receiving backs in football last year to win Offensive Player of the Year. As a running back, you got to have a similar season to McCaffrey. Brees Hall definitely fits the bill. And also, he was so good last year, RB2 in fantasy, and that was his first year off an ACL tear. So even with Garrett Wilson finally having a good quarterback, he has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start his career. I still think Brees Hall more likely gets it than Garrett Wilson. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers have a lot of success throwing the ball to Aaron Jones in the past. So even with, I mean, last year was poor quarterback play, so a lot of check downs to Brees Hall, a lot of screens to kind of just get the ball in his hands in space. But I still think that element will be there with Rodgers, even though they will push the ball downfield more. But also at the same time, this offense was the 29th in scoring last year. So when Brees Hall scored, he kind of scored from deep, where I think there's gonna be a lot more opportunities for him to score in the red zone this year.
Yeah, and for those wondering, the odds: Hall plus 3,000, Wilson plus 4,000. So very interesting.
All right, last question. Drock has got a question for the boys in the pod. Who
Ooh.
who had a better performance in their respective fields? Aaron Rodgers or the solar eclipse?
Well, Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps, but that eclipse was overhyped a little bit. We kind of got screwed in New York City because it got cloudy right before it hit the peak. And,
I mean, that was everywhere. That was out here too.
yeah, it was kind
That
of
was just
kind
like
of beat.
East
You're
Coast.
looking through the glasses and you're like, oh, that's it. It's done. I
Yeah.
peaked once or twice. My eyeballs hurt. So yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna
shout
go.
out.
I guess I have to go with the eclipse though.
I'd like to shout out Wealthbridge Financial social media guy. He had a nice solar eclipse video. If you haven't checked it out, go give him a follow. Drop $50 Venmo, please. But yeah, no, go check out Wealthbridge Financial's newest meme about the eclipse. It's a real knee slapper. So
He also made one that had me in it, but it's not to share on social media. We'll
no,
send it
come
to you,
on.
Reagan. We'll send it to you.
No,
Yeah,
the
maybe
fans need it. The fans need it.
I'll put out one for a round of Phil.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, you should. That you should. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna do that actually. I love that idea. That's all the questions.
All right,
Oh yeah.
guys. Quick break, and we got 4 teams, the last 4 of the season to give out a grade. Curious to see yours,
One more
Reagan.
time.
One
Yeah, let's
more
go.
time. All right, the boys are back. The final 4 teams. We're going to start with the bottom of the barrel, the New England Patriots with a 4-13 record. The offense was disgustingly bad. 30th in total, 31st in scoring. The defense, though, led by Bill Belichick, 7th in total, 15th in scoring. Reagan, awful season for the Patriots. They're picking 3rd overall. What grade did you give them?
I gave him a D because I didn't have high expectations for him, but because the defense was so damn good, that's the only reason I didn't give him an F. Because, like you said, they were 7th and they still only won 4 games, but they kept them in it. They actually played some good football down the stretch. I mean, they beat that. I remember they beat the Broncos on what was that, Christmas Eve night? I believe they beat the Broncos, and I think it was in Denver, if I'm not mistaken. So they were playing. They were still competing until the end, and yeah, gave him a D. Love it. Love every
F.
second of it too. I hate the
F out of me.
Patriots.
It's an F. They failed Mac Jones. Absolutely no talent around him. And I know Mac Jones never had the highest ceiling, but he was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago. Okay, I know Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler or whatever, right? But Mac Jones was pretty good his rookie year, and it just went way downhill from there. His attitude on the sidelines was bad. The leaks during the season that Bill might be gone and him and Robert Kraft, like obviously where there was smoke, there was fire. That there was some truth to that when you have those type of reports going on throughout the season. I'm sure in that locker room, it was pretty miserable for a lot of players. So that sucked. The defense, like you mentioned, Reagan, it remained competitive with Bill at the helm. Now with Bill Belichick gone, the best defensive mind in NFL history. Will they keep that up? I mean, I don't know. I actually think their defense regresses a little bit next year. I mean, the offense still has a ton of holes. And I know people are having this debate, Reagan. I'm curious your thoughts. Number 3 overall, obviously they have Brissett as a bridge quarterback. Some people believe there's so many holes in this roster that if you take a rookie quarterback, you're just setting him up to fail. And they should move back, maybe with Minnesota, collect more draft capital, go with Brissett for a year, and build up the roster before taking a quarterback. I understand that, but my thought process is you can't just be like, oh, well, we'll get a top quarterback next year because you don't know how your team's going to play. You don't know at the end of the season you're playing a backup quarterback and you steal a win or you beat a team like Denver that when they beat him this year, Denver was hot. They were playing some really good football. You never know what can happen. And also the quarterback class next year does not look great as of right now. So I'm under the mindset where you take the top quarterback on your board at number 3. If you don't think he's ready, this is why you have Jacoby Brissett. But while you're up in the top 3 of the draft, you have to go quarterback if you're the Patriots, in my opinion. Do you agree?
I don't think you have to because they have such an early second rounder that they could go Marvin Harrison and then pair him with his future quarterback in Penix or Nix if he ends up falling.
Yeah, but I don't think you could sit there in the beginning of the second round and just bank on one of those guys falling, especially there's a reason they're going to be there because they're holes. I mean, this was Hafe's question. He's like, if you're the
There's holes,
GM,
yeah.
this is a dumpster fire of a team right now. Like, what would you address in the draft and what would be your plan for the future? I'm taking a quarterback. I'm hoping if I'm the Patriots, it's Drake May because I love his tools, but I also wouldn't start him week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you would want to start any of the guys, but I think they're going to start regardless. I honestly, we always say this bridge quarterback, but we rarely see it anymore. When's the last time one of these first round picks haven't been starting week 1? I mean, think about it. Richardson, Young, they play Stroud.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance, but that situation was also completely different where they had a win now team and it wasn't and Jimmy G
Yes.
like wasn't exactly the bridge quarterback, you know, like he was coming off of being in the Super Bowl. It wasn't like, hey, we just brought in this veteran to be the bridge quarterback. Still
Well, they
that pick
moved up
still had
because they saw the ceiling of Jimmy Garoppolo, and that was the ceiling. And they were
yeah,
like,
but that was
you know,
a very big outlier. Like I
yeah.
don't see that happening this year.
I mean, Mahomes sat, Jordan Love sat, but also
That's going
different.
back a
Those are
while.
good. Those are also good teams, though. They were
Good
good
teams,
teams
yeah.
when they got them. When they were a bad
And they
team,
had
like, I mean,
they
it
had
happened. I mean, even with
established
the
veterans
Giants.
too. They had Alex
Yeah,
Smith and Aaron Rodgers. Like,
yeah.
you know what I
Happened with
mean?
the
It's
Giants. They had Eli and they took Jones. He sat initially, but he took over by week 3.
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. But that's what I'm saying. Rarely do we see these bridge quarterbacks come in. So I think whoever the Patriots draft, he's starting week 1.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't start him week 1 unless he like absolutely just outperforms Brissett in practice and it's obvious. And it
Which he
also
probably
depends on how he's
will.
picking up the offense. Probably will. Yeah. I mean,
And
Brissett
honestly,
he played
it's
all
gonna be
right
a
last
good
year though.
and it'll be in good faith, you know, like new coach gonna want the fan base obviously is not gonna want to wait. They're gonna be all over play him now, give us something to watch. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Before we move on, one last thing. Also, Ramondre's season last year after his really good 2022 was a big negative for me as well. I was high on him going into the last year, and the injuries and obviously
Yeah.
the offense was terrible, but his decline was a negative for this team. If their offense is going to improve, I think Ramondre has to be a big part of that next season. All right, Reagan, your New York Jets 7-10 last year, 31st in total offense, 29th in scoring, led by Zach Wilson. Defensively, 3rd in total, 12th in scoring. Where'd you land for this one?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll give him a C. I mean, I don't know. It's just like it was an average year. I mean, there's a lot of negatives to take away from it, but at the end of the day, it's hard to really take much away from this year. Obviously, you lost Rodgers, and that outwent the season. I mean, there were highs in the season where Zach Wilson's stepping in and beating the Bills and hanging with the Chiefs, and then he's losing to the Raiders on prime time. So a lot of highs, a lot of lows. We got to watch them lose on Black Friday.
Yeah,
So
that was a fun game. That was a fun game. Miami was
yeah.
rolling.
Yeah, very fun. But yeah, a lot of highs and lows, but you know what, at the end of the day, kind of similar to, well, actually not similar to the Bengals because they almost got in the playoffs with Jake Browning, who actually looked like an NFL caliber quarterback. But I guess similar to the Vikings in the sense where once the star quarterback went down, it didn't matter.
Yeah, we talked about this, Reagan. I gave him a C as well. When Rodgers went down, the season just became a wash in my mind. And the only thing that could salvage it was if Zach Wilson somehow lived up to his draft status and led this team to the playoffs. You knew they were going to have a good defense all year. Like, you knew the defense was going to be elite. So the fact that the offense did exactly what people thought it was going to do with Wilson and he made no strides forward, plus with all the drama in the season, all the reports coming out that he didn't want to play or who knows what was true. But there were talks that, like, when he got benched, that he'll never play another snap for the Jets. Now no one wants him. I mean, just based off his attitude, I mean, I don't think people want him, and his play on the field is even worse. So, yeah, it's a C. They remain competitive. They play tough thanks to that defense. Defense would be really good again next year. I will say, Brees Hall, the bounce back off the ACL, the way he played is a huge positive. Still only 22 years old. Garrett Wilson, another 1,000 yards with terrible quarterback play. That's a positive. The offensive line was really bad. I mean, guys were getting hurt. AVT got hurt. It was just an injury riddled season that sucks. Defensively, Quentin Williams is still that dude. Jermaine Johnson was awesome. Sauce Gardner, another all-pro season. DJ Reed's a stud. Like, you got what you expected from the stars of this team. It's just it became a wash for me when Rodgers went down. So that's why I landed on a C.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hard to debate either side of the coin.
No. All right. The Miami Dolphins, 11-6. First in total offense, second in scoring, fueled by that 70-point thrumping of the Denver Broncos. Defensively, 10th in total, 22nd in scoring. What did you give the Fins?
I mean, I give them a B minus. I mean, yeah, they went 11-6, but you know what? Like, I'm not trying to knock them, but they only had one win against the team above 500. That was the Cowboys. Like, you did what you were supposed to do, but you just couldn't beat any of the good teams. And then, obviously, in the playoffs, they lost. They got killed by the Chiefs. It was too cold for them, and they lost the basically you get the or you get the 2 seed, or you're playing in Arrowhead, and they lost the Bills at home week 17 or week 18. So yeah, it was a good season, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know, first round exit and choking the division away down the stretch and really not beating anyone. It's hard to give them anything higher than a B minus, in my opinion. And the defense had its ups and downs, and the same with the offense. But this team just, I don't know, I can't see them getting over the hump. They don't have enough firepower, I guess. Maybe more so on the defensive side. Like, obviously, it's crazy to say they don't have firepower with Tyreek Hill, but I don't know. I don't know. They got issues there, a lot of holes to fix.
I hate that I agree with you again. I also gave them a B minus. Now, they made the playoffs, but they were going for the number 1 seed in the AFC and kind of fell apart the back half of the year a little bit. And they also got mopped by Kansas City. We know Dolphins can't swim in the cold. These Dolphins certainly couldn't. And Tyreek was the motor of this offense. And when he was out, Tua was not good. Waddle was not good. And that concerns me. Like, they're really dependent on Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek said after this contract, he's done. Well, he's got 2 more years left on his contract. So Waddle not stepping up really bothered me. But hopefully he takes that next step under Hill's tutelage. I will say, though, the defense was pretty solid. And you got to remember, Reagan, Ramsey missed a lot of time. And they lost Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb to season-ending injuries during the season. And Jalen Phillips looked awesome. And the reason that he got picked where he did in the draft, which was 18th overall, he was a top 5, top 10 talent, but it's because of injuries in college with concussions. So for him to suffer another significant injury was not good, but he was really starting to hit his stride and play really well. And then Bradley Chubb also as well. They gave up their first round pick last year to get him from Denver. For them to be 10th in total, I know 22nd in scoring, but 10th in total with those key guys being hurt, arguably the 3 best defensive players. I mean, maybe Christian Wilkins in there. I mean, that's not bad. Now, you did lose Christian Wilkins. That's a big loss in that defense. Obviously, you lost Xavier Howard too. So I'm really not that much in love with Miami going into next season, especially with their struggles in cold weather. But I do like Mike McDaniel a lot as a head coach. I think he's one of the best offensive minds in football. And as long as Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle are healthy, they're going to score a ton of points.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year because the AFC is only getting better.
Yeah, it's only getting better, man. Like, I like Houston a lot more than Miami going to next year. That's for sure.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like, Houston's better. The Jets and Bengals, like, they're healthy.
Yeah.
Um, I would imagine
Still
the
got
Colts will be
Buffalo
better.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Colts will be
Buffalo.
better. They'll have their quarterback. Kansas
Steelers
City,
should be better too.
Baltimore, Cleveland. Like,
Actually, I don't know if Cleveland will be better. I
yeah,
genuinely
well,
don't know.
Deshaun Watson downgrade from Joe slang that thing Flacco.
I mean, yeah, like, yeah, you'd imagine the Chargers will be better too. So
Yeah, no, it's a
I
really
mean, I
competitive
think we
conference, and
already have
I
talked
think
about
Miami
this
got worse.
before. I mean, honestly, and I'm even getting higher on the Titans the more moves they're making this offseason. Like, honestly, the only 3 teams I could say for sure that won't be in the playoffs are the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Broncos. Those are the only 3 teams I think you can count out. I mean, the Titans, I might be a little high on them, but I still could see a world where they're flirting with the wild card race come week 16, week 17.
Yeah, I don't love the Titans. They're picking seventh this year. I didn't see enough from Will Levis. They did add some good veteran talent, but I think they downgraded at head coach. But we will see.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. Well, I mean, we'll see. Give him time, but obviously losing Mike Brable hurts.
All right, Reagan. Last team of the series, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh
11 and
no.
6, fourth in total offense, sixth in scoring, ninth in total defense, fourth in scoring. Obviously, they lost to 3 to Kansas City, the eventual champs in the AFC Championship game. Would you give those Buffalo Bills, Reagan?
Dude, it's got to be like B minus. I mean, it's hard to give them like because look, we view Dallas and Philadelphia in the same light, where they have such high expectations coming into the year. Like every year, they're going to win the Super Bowl, and the Bills have been a Super Bowl favorite. Like out of every team in the league, they were the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Not last year, but they were still like top 3 in odds, and they constantly just can't get past the Kansas City Chiefs. So to me, at this point, I mean, they didn't even make it to the AFC Championship game. So
What?
I don't. Wait, no, wait,
Oh
wait.
yeah, they lost in the divisional round to Kansas City.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, wait, you're making me say it was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Ravens
yeah,
Chiefs in the
yeah,
AFC Champions. I'm like,
yeah,
wait,
yeah. Divisional round,
I was gonna
yeah.
say you're making me second guess myself. So they didn't even
Yeah.
make it. They didn't even make it to the AFC Championship game. Like, I don't know. At what point do we not fault them? I mean, Josh Allen hasn't been able to get over the hump. Like he put up crazy numbers in the regular season, and I know this isn't basketball. Like this is a very much so a team sport, but it seems like Mahomes, like the Chiefs always have different issues, and he's just able to elevate them and will them through. I mean, obviously their defense was clutch, but his wide receivers weren't great this year, and they were still able to get it done. And Kelsey, like, he turned it on in the playoffs, but all year he didn't look like the same Kelsey. So I don't know. I'm giving him a B minus. Obviously, they had a lot of injuries. Matt Milano going down is killer. Um, and obviously Davis losing him, or not Dave. I mean White, Tre'Davious White losing him hurts as well. So they did have injuries, but I don't know. At this point, it's hard to give them anything higher than a B minus when you come in as a Super Bowl favorite and you're not even like getting to the Super Bowl, let alone the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I gave him a B. There's no shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the eventual champs, 3 of the last 4. But the reality is it's Super Bowl or bust every year for the Bills when you have a star quarterback like Josh Allen in his prime. And now it's going to become more difficult to win as the big extension has kicked in. We've seen them let a lot of veterans go that have been a part of this core. So now more is on Josh's shoulders to carry this team. Defense was top 5 in scoring, top 10 in total, even with all those injuries, including to Milano. So that's a positive. I do like that they seem to have good depth and they have faith in these young guys to step in these roles. Ed Oliver was a beast last year too. I mean, he's living up to his draft status. That's huge for that defensive line, especially given that Von Miller has not lived up to that contract whatsoever. I think the Diggs drama just got really old in that locker room. That's why he's gone. So that's just another negative too. Like they always went to the playoffs, but it always seemed like they were on edge. Like we have to get it done. We have to get it done. We have to win a Super Bowl this year instead of playing loose. They kind of put more pressure on themselves. I feel like the Cook and Kincaid breakouts were great to see though. That's why I think they were fine with letting Diggs go too. High expectations for them next season. And with so many key losses, man, it's they're gonna need some guys to step up. Ultimately, though, there's no shame in losing Mahomes and the Chiefs, even though it seems to happen over and over again. And Josh Allen did play really well in that game too. That loss wasn't on his shoulders, but at some point, man, you gotta get it done. You just gotta get it done. So a B. I think that's a fine grade for them.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like 2 years ago, but whatever. I get your point. It's just
You went
at a
B
certain
minus,
point.
dude. It's right there. It's splitting hairs.
I don't know. It's honestly, I would rather give him a C plus. I'm just so tired. Like they just haven't gotten over the hump. Like at least at this point, I would like to see him in a Super Bowl. Like I'm not saying you got to win, but one of
I
these
hear you.
times,
I hear you.
Get over Mahomes. Come on, one of these times.
I hear you. All right, that wraps it up. We have our final edition of trivia. Drock, you ready to roll?
Yeah, it's Drox last time to be the line, to be the highlight of the show.
Yeah. Oh, it's a
Pretty
sad
sad.
day.
It's very
So
sad.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, get those practice
What is this
hands ready.
score? Is it 5-2? 5-2 already clinched, but we might as well beat you down one last
We
time,
have
right,
I
Ben?
beat
one,
you
two,
20-1
three,
last
four,
time though.
5, 6, 7,
I
8,
spanked that
Yeah, that was
9,
ass.
10,
ridiculous scoring
11,
system.
12, 13.
I mean, regardless of Dave's wonky scoring system, I did spank that ass.
And let's give it up for Drock for having the most trivia questions on a pod. Woohoo!
That a boy Drock.
Yeah, actually, I did have some help, but I don't need them. All right, let's get it started. Who had the most rushing yards in the division? Reagan.
Mostert.
Wrong. Colin.
James Cook.
Correct.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't Brees.
I knew it wasn't Brees either. Brees got there with the receiving game.
Next question. Which player had the most receiving yards? Colin.
Tyreek Hill.
Correct.
That's a layup.
Please,
Yeah, it
please,
was.
please ask the question.
I initially thought you
wait,
asked like
actually,
you asked
he fucking thought about that for a while.
Yeah, I was gonna
because
say,
I
please-
no because I thought he was
No.
asking from the running back position because you just
But
said
you
the
shouldn't have raised
Brees
your
Hall
hand
got the
then.
receiving game. Yeah, but I still got it. So shut the fuck up.
warning goes to Colin for taking too long to answer.
Yeah, I think Drock's getting mad biased with this goddamn trivia.
All right. Next question. Which player had the most sacks in the division?
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
Mm. I guess I'll go with Bryce Huff.
Wrong.
There wasn't a big like.
Was it Jalen Phillips before he got hurt?
Did you raise your hand?
Jalen Phillips.
Wrong.
Yeah.
It was Bradley Chubb.
Really?
Damn
What did
it,
he
dude.
have? Or it
11.
doesn't. Damn. Huff had 10.
I was like, damn,
All
dude.
right.
Like, because I Bryce Huff led the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, both Miami guys got hurt. I just don't remember which one got hurt first.
And obviously Judon got hurt too.
Yeah, Judon got hurt early.
Okay. Next question. Which player caught the most interceptions? I'm saying caught because it's not thrown.
Most INTs.
Javon Holland, Dolphins.
Wrong.
That was going to be my guess. So
Damn.
good guess, Reagan. Good guess.
Yeah, apparently.
Who had the most INTs? Man. Was it Jordan Poyer?
Wrong. It was Ramsey.
Dude, I was thinking him,
Really?
but I was like, there's no way. What do you
That's
have,
right,
five-
because he was hurt, but he came back and just had picks galore his first couple
Yeah,
games back. I
Wait,
believe.
wait. How many?
3.
That's not true then. Whitehead had 3 in the first game against the Bills.
Wait, played for the Bills. You mean against the Jets?
No. What? No, the Jets safety, Whitehead.
Oh, you said White, like Tre'Davious White.
No, Whitehead. Whitehead had 3 against Josh Allen in opening night. Dave,
Yeah, let's calm it down a little bit.
wait, hold on. Let me check this because if it fucking, I mean, I'm not trying to give you shit. I mean, it might not matter.
No, I don't give shit. I mean, Drock is wrong half the fucking time. So let's get this out of the way.
Let's see.
Yeah, Ramsey
let's
had
see.
3.
I mean, Davis had also Ashton Davis had 3 with the Jets. Tony Adams had 3 with the Jets.
Yeah, we're already wrong.
Jordan Poyer had fucking 0, so that was just a really bad guess out of me.
Okay, so it looks like
Oh wait. I
There's
see where the confusion came in because Jordan, you probably looked on ESPN. Jordan Whitehead had 4, so that's the correct answer. But he has the Bucks logo now, so I could see.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's
But
on me.
also that's still wrong because Rasul Douglas had. Well, I guess it was combined between the Bills and Green Bay with 5. So I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Nobody got
Yeah,
it right.
that's on
so
me, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, it's all right, man. I got a little
All right.
tricky.
Well, Well, Reagan, did you get it right or no? You didn't really.
No, he did
Because
not get it right
No, because
anyways.
technically, I
He's doing
guess
all
it's
this
Rasul
bitching and he still
Douglas.
got it wrong.
all right, 1-0, Colin. Or sorry, 2-0.
It's 2-0.
Which quarterback had the most rushing touchdowns? Reagan.
There's no fucking way, dude. My head was up
On my
first.
screen, no, on my screen, stop. It was Josh Allen.
Correct.
No shit, dude.
Dude, on my screen,
I
it was
watched
Josh
you the
Allen.
whole time.
Bro, I was
Oh my
way ahead of you on my screen.
That's such horse shit.
All
Go
right.
back and watch.
I was way ahead of you on the screen. I don't get it.
There is 2 answers to this next question. Which players had a returning touchdown?
What, like a kick return or a punt return?
Sorry, yeah, it's a kick return. That's on me.
Oh, kick return. Okay.
Well, I
So
mean,
not a- not a punt return.
it may be in the same category. Let me check.
Because
Kick
obviously
return.
that's
Wait, so like pick six not included?
Pick sixes are not included. This is special teams only.
so which player had a kick return and a punt return touchdown in the same season?
Colin. No,
Not
no,
in the
whoa,
same
whoa.
no,
Complicating
not in
this
the
way
same
too much.
season.
Which special team
There's
play?
two
Which
players.
there's two answers to this questions. Which player had a either could have been a punting or a kickoff return touchdown?
Gibson.
Was one of them, yes.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the
So that's
other
a
one,
point.
Reagan,
go
you
for
can
a
get
point, Reagan.
You can go for a point, yeah.
the other one was on the Patriots. I'm just forgetting his freaking name. Oh, he's a corner, but they also use him as last name's Jones.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Wrong. It's
Oh,
Deontay.
fuck. Oh, the
Deontay Hardy.
Deontay Hardy.
with the Bills, yeah. But a Patriots guy also had a kick return touchdown, I remember. But didn't Nagy
Okay.
Lions have one too? Oh no, that was 2 years ago. Never mind. All right, continue.
Okay. Who had the most fumbles on the Bills?
Josh
Right.
Allen.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good guess. You have two right, and they're both Josh Allen is the answer.
Yeah.
You guys,
3-2.
you guys should have known that the Josh Allen was going to be asked a lot on here. Okay. Who had the most tackles on the Dolphins?
Josh Allen.
Correct. Reagan.
I'll go with Jerome Baker.
Wrong.
I'll go with Javon Holland.
Wrong. It was David Long Jr.
Ah, shit.
All right. Well, Holland was my other thought, so I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad
Okay.
that wasn't it.
3-2 still stands. How many passing touchdowns did Mike White have? Reagan.
2.
Wrong. Colin.
3.
Wrong. It was 1.
Damn it. I was going to go. I was
get the
between
point 'cause
3
I
or
was
1.
closer. I get the point because I was closer.
No, that's not how this show works.
Dave.
All right. No, it's not how it works.
Come on, dude.
This is a really tough one. I'm gonna give this a 3-point special.
No, dude, we're not doing that shit.
All right, fine. We're just gonna do 1 fucking point. In order from least to greatest, which teams had the most sack yards in the AFC East last
The
season?
most, so defensively, like the most
Correct.
sacks.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
From the least to
Reagan.
most.
Yeah,
We'll go Patriots, Bills, Jets, Dolphins.
Wrong.
Bills, Jets, Dolphins. Okay. I'm gonna go Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets.
Wrong. Believe it or not, it was Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Patriots.
Wow, Jets,
Ah.
Patriots had the most, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
unless I interpreted it wrong. Wait, by sack yardage, does it mean like
You-
their defense
you-
getting sacked or their quarterback getting sacked?
This was a Austie question, so
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
was
think it
thinking
might,
the defense.
I was thinking
the
the defense, but I think it might be that makes me think it was the offense.
yeah, he didn't clarify that, so I'm not gonna pull that information
Yeah,
up.
it's all right.
All right, next question. Who had the third most sacks in the AFC East? Reagan.
I will go with Bryce Huff.
Wrong.
I'll go with Jermaine Johnson.
Wrong. It was Zach Sealer.
Okay.
Who?
Yeah. Yep.
All
right.
All right.
Who?
All right, Austin, that's a fucking tough one.
Okay. Who had the sixth most tackles in the AFC East?
Jesus, man, he loves these. The sixth most tackles in the AFC East. Ah, man. Shot in the dark, Jordan Poyer.
Correct. Damn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's crazy. 4-2.
Let's go. Great question.
That's wild.
Damn.
4-2.
That's big. It gives me a little breathing room. It's an insurance run.
Okay. Who had the fifth most kick return yards?
Oh, come on. Now you're like going to like secondary returners.
Devon A-Chain.
Wrong.
I mean, I don't fucking know. Like,
Dude, like, I don't know. Deontay Hardy.
Wrong. It was Ty Johnson.
oh,
Really?
I do know that guy.
All right. The next two may sound complicated, but for both of you guys, they are easier based off of the answer. Who had the ninth most rushing yards in the AFC East?
The ninth most rushing yards in the AFC East.
Reagan.
Zeke.
Wrong.
Oh, that's a good guess, though. That's a good guess. Ninth most rushing yards. Josh Allen.
Wrong. It was Dalvin Cook.
He's such a chud for that one. I should have known that was the Jets one.
I mean, Dalvin Cook just absolutely sucked. I wouldn't even thought he was top 9.
Yeah,
All right.
honestly.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions left. The last
Okay.
two are the last two. All right.
To me. Give it to me.
Who had the 16th most receiving yards in the AFC East?
Dude, what the fuck?
Khalil Shakir.
Wrong.
That would have been a snipe.
Dawson
Oh.
Knox.
Wrong. Reagan, you
Alan
want to shoot it
Lazard.
again?
Alan
No.
Lazard.
Nope. Zeke.
Oh,
I should have said that you mentioned. I should have said one of you guys answered the player already, but whatever.
Well, I mean,
All
I
right.
wouldn't have said Zeke still. I would probably said like Hardy or something.
Last difficult question, then we'll roll into the next two. Score stands at 4-2. How many years has it been since the Dolphins won a playoff game?
wow, that's a good question.
I feel like it might be going back to Marino, but I don't know. But did they win one with Tannehill? I don't think they did. And then
No, I
Chad
think
Pennington.
I think they did. Yeah, because I was thinking Pennington. Did they get one with Tannehill?
You know what? I'll go.
I don't
I'll
know.
go 24 years.
Let's go. It's 4-3, 24 years. Let's go.
There's no fucking way you just
Yeah.
snaked that, bro.
December 30th, 2000, the Dolphins defeated the Colts 23-17 in overtime.
Wow.
Oh my god, dude!
All
You
right,
just got 24 years. That
yeah,
keeps
dude.
These
you alive.
are asked by, I think it was Max. So I'm gonna ask these questions. So it's for you guys to determine
I need
if
one
you can
for
answer
the
them.
tie, 2 for the win.
I'm gonna say it real quickly.
They sound difficult.
How many Super Bowls have the Bills won?
0.
Right again. Bang! It's 4-4. Let's go. Let's go.
I want challenge flag. My hand was up first.
No, it's not. Challenge flag declined. You lost the timeout.
You probably wouldn't have known that anyway.
Time.
All right.
Yes, I did know that. They
Give
lost
them
like
like
four in a
last,
row.
last question. How many Super Bowls have the Jets won? Reagan.
What?
Give me that. Give me that.
All right.
Let's go.
What a
Let's
comeback.
Go.
What a comeback.
Wow,
3
what
in
a
a row for the
sweat.
win.
What a sweat. Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
My
Reagan's
live
I
the
one.
cannot
winner.
believe
My
you got the
live one.
24 years since the Dolphins won a Super Bowl kept you
Jesus
alive.
Christ.
Oh my
Reagan,
God.
Reagan, if freaking just.
I do it for Kobe.
Yeah.
For Kobe.
You did get fucking layups though. You 3 of those were fucking layups.
What do you mean? You got layups too. You got Tyreek Hill, who had the most receiving yards. The dude had the most receiving yards in the league.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That one's a layup, but the Josh Allen rushing touchdowns, layup. Jets Super Bowl, Bills Super Bowl. You hit the Hail
I
Mary
don't know
though. You
what
did hit
else
the
did
Hail
you get. I
Mary.
forget what else you got. I know you got a Hail Mary with the Poyer.
Yeah,
I
Poyer,
honestly
6
forget the
exposed
other ones you got.
tackles. I think I had. Did I get
Oh,
Javon
you got
Holland
one
on
with
one of them?
fucking you got one with Gibson, but like, yeah, I mean that was kind of a layup. We all watched the
That
game.
wasn't a layup. That was a good one.
I mean, you watched
Any
the
special
Jets.
teamer, any
You
special
watched the
teamers
Jets
are.
Bills game though. But still, all right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
Hey, congrats on the win, man. That was crazy. The 24 years. Wow, that's the best night you might have had
Yeah.
so far. But it still wasn't enough, brother. 5-3 champ. 1-1 the all-time series.
Perfect
Yeah.
for us. We thought we'd be ending the pod earlier, but the championship game doesn't start till 9:20, so we're good.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's a
we
late
got
start.
8 minutes, recording on a nice Monday night. Gonna watch some hoops. Yanks won, baby. That's what we do. Start spreading the news.
Is what we do. UFC pod on Thursday for you
Yes,
fight fans.
UFC
put up the
300,
dukes.
baby.
Put
You
up
got
the
any fight
dukes.
fans out there? I can't wait for that one,
Wow.
dude. That's gonna be a
Whole
fun
lot
one.
of you. Whole lot of you out there.
Whole
But
lot
yeah,
of you.
good pods, fellas. And like we've been saying, sign up for the Around the Felt Golf Scramble, fellas. July
Yes.
20th. It's gonna be a doozy.
It's gonna be a doozy. Gonna be a good time. Fill a team. Let us know if you know if anyone wants to sponsor a hole. Let us know. It should be a fun day. Get everyone out. Can't wait for that.
Peace.